This is Martin Showton, and you're watching Content Marketing using Google+. Now, we're on to the fifth stage, which is measure and evaluate. Now, this really depends on what you've set as your outcomes. So if your outcomes are to increase the number of people that visit your website, are to get a particular sale on a certain product set, or are to simply have more engagement as you learn about what people like on Google+, or it could be to increase the number of +1s on your page because you think that's important, or to increase the number of followers that you have because you think that's going to help. All of that's going to depend on how you're going to measure and evaluate. So it goes back to that starting point, is set your outcomes, know why you're doing what you're doing. Let's look at a couple of quick examples. So the first one is, let's say you create a standalone piece of video content and you host it on YouTube. You then share that content into your network on Google+. So a lot of this is going to be dependent upon starting to build that network. But you share it and a lot of people +1, they comment and they share it onto other people in their network. Now, because YouTube and Google+ are so connected, the +1s, they will count as thumbs ups on the particular video on the channel. The comments, assuming you have those enabled, they will also show up on that content. And the other thing is that you can then look at, if you have an associated website with your YouTube channel, you can look at having annotations which allow people to click and go straight through to an article on your blog, now on your website. Now, all of this starts to get the idea that you can flow your content around and you can move people between the different modes of the content. So it may start that it's a video just on YouTube, and then you share it to Google+, and there's interactions on Google+, and then you direct them towards a particular landing page, for instance, on your website. Now, when you add the extra element in about Google search and that the video could appear in Google search, you can start to see you've got lots of different places that you're going to have to pick up the measurements. Now, one of the main ones is to use Google Analytics or your Web Stats package so that you know whether the effort that you put into creating that video and then promoting it and then replying to people's comments, whether that's all worthwhile in order to achieve that particular outcome when it goes back to, for instance, people purchasing something, or people sign up to a newsletter, or could just be for brand awareness for some people as well. So there's the first example. Okay, let's now look at the second example, and that's going to be a blog post. So let's say that you create that content and you think it's amazing for your network and you share it. Now, you have several ways you can share it, but let's just look at sharing it as an embedded link, which means that you put it in to the link bar and drop that in, and the little image, if you have one as a featured image, will appear. The alternative is that you drop the link in the top once you've put a picture in there, which is often a very good way of getting engagement, but there's reasons you do one or the other, so check the Plus Your Business site for some more advice on that. But let's say that you do one of those two things. You share that content and people will engage with that content where it is. So they will look at it and they'll +1, they'll comment, and they'll share potentially that just in its own right. But most of the time what you want them to do is to click the link and visit your website in that situation. So let's say they do that. The question then becomes, are the numbers of people who are visiting your website what you'd expect them to be and what you want them to be, and what will you do differently with that set of content, which we're going to come on to next, which is repurposing, as well as how would you approach it differently in the future as well for new pieces of content. And when you've decided that, you're beginning to A, measure, and B, evaluate the effectiveness of what you're doing. So there are two scenarios there. We've got one which is about a video and one which is about a blog post. And in both cases, we have to remember that somebody has clicked a button. Somebody has made a comment. And this is the thing about a social network, is that there are real people sitting behind these things. And the great advantage with Google Plus is that you can find the people who are most influential at spreading the word through shares by looking at Google ripples. Now, I know that this may be a bit too far for those that don't know Google, but on Google Plus. But what this means is that you can go to a post and you can find out who the people are that have the network that also relates to the content that you've posted. So if somebody shares something and they share it and get lots of reshares, it means that that person's network also relates to what you're doing, which is perfect because you can build a relationship with the person that shared and also all of those other people that shared it on. Now, I know that's probably too much for those of you that aren't involved in Google Plus yet, but for those that are, this is a really, really useful way of evaluating not just did the content work to get more people to the site, but also who are the people that relate to it and that I want to build relationships with even more. Now, when it comes to using Google Plus in relation to your content marketing, one of the best things is how your content resurfaces later on, both within Google Plus when people search for it, particularly if you're using hashtags, but also in Google search itself. Not just Google+. So increasingly, people are finding that content they've put out is able to get search results because the engagement that they're having from people within their community is then showing it as personalized results to them in the future, but also allowing that content to be shown to other people outside of the network. Now, this is an enormous area and it's really another course or two in its own right. But I'll put some links around the video, either if you've seen it on YouTube or if you've seen it on the website on Plus Your Business. But that will allow you to start to understand the relationship between search engine optimization or social search engine optimization, your content and Google+. When you can start to understand how that all works together, then suddenly what you'll be measuring might be quite different to just the engagement on the content from where it is. You just start thinking about search. So that's one of the most important things to take away from the course is how you can use Google Plus in order to get better search results in the future. So there we go. That's evaluate and measure. And the next one, and the final one that we're going to look at is repurposing, which is going to be very useful in order to make sure you make the most of all of the content you produce.